Welcome back. Episode 35 of the Full Program Golf Podcast with me, Josh Conlon, and as ever, with Stevie Mack in the studio. It's been a beautiful bank holiday weekend here in England, and it got us thinking, where should we go as a good bank holiday break? So we're going to get into that. Let's do it. Stevie, how are we doing?
I'm very well, mate. And for the audio listeners, I just want to say to you and describe to them, great polo.
Yeah, it seemed like the obvious choice, didn't it? The sun is shining, the white needs to come out, but yeah, right back at you. Beautiful.
Amen. There was never any doubt. Do you know what? Never any doubt. Of course, we were both going to be in the white today. Now tell me, it's still a very hot day. Are you melting in London or are you okay?
It's hot. Like, it is warm. Don't get me wrong. My hair is okay right now. It's probably on the edge of needing a cut. I'm going this afternoon for a little bit of AC in the barber shop, get it even
Nice.
shorter just to be able to live with the heat. Has that been driven by the heat? Maybe. Have I gone mad? Maybe. We're okay. We're okay. How about you out in the sticks?
Yeah, out in the sticks is actually a bit cooler, and in the countryside, so lots of windows open, a bit of breeze coming across the fields. We are surviving, so no need to worry about me. Just want to touch on that trim, little Turkish number, or are you a bit more of an upmarket man when it comes to getting the barnet cropped?
So I've got a couple of go-tos, a couple of shout-outs, actually, that I'd like to do to the guys. I've got the Chaps Den, Clapham Junction. Give them a shout-out for the boys. Great establishment. Go there whenever I need to. Enjoy it. That's probably the go-to. But when we're moving out towards Richmond and we're out in playing golf and you want to tie that in with a little haircut, we go to the Gens of Richmond, which is also as seen in Ted Lasso. It's got all of its things in there. So kind of go there, good stuff. So I would say they're both Turkish barbers, but they're the upmarket side of the Turkish barber. So I've got a nice middle ground there, I think.
Yeah, they've both kind of gone down the same ChatGPT name route, I feel like there. Like the same search engine probably gave them, they both fell into the 10 options that were provided. But love to see it. And do you know what? Ted Lasso. I'm currently watching it. And let me tell you, what an unbelievable program that is. Series 1 and 2 have been slotted. Really enjoy both of them. Halfway through 3 at the moment. Gets a bit weirder in 3, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm still along for the ride, but I don't know what took me so long. It's just easy, straightforward, predictable fun.
It's a feel good show, isn't it? I was going to say feel good film. It's not film. Yeah, feel good show. Really good. And I think it does add, we spend a lot of time in Richmond. You see a lot of different places. I think that's with anything, whether you're watching golf, whether you're watching a series, whatever it might be. If it's set somewhere, it just adds to it, doesn't it? And gives you that little extra little vibe that you're enjoying. But yeah, good show. I'm looking forward to season 4. Watched it a good few years back. So yeah, it's going to be fresher for you than it is for me. But yeah, it'll be good. We'll enjoy it.
Yeah, no, the season 4 news dropped as we were halfway through season 2. So you can imagine we are excited, very excited. And also, I'm a big US sports fan. And so there's a couple of little nods and notes in there, which I pick up on. I quite enjoy that. So talking about Richmond, I think you just spent the whole bank holiday in Richmond, didn't you? It must have been a hot one out there.
Yeah, we had 2 of our gents spring meetings this weekend at Royal Mid-Surrey, Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, it was a hot one. I felt we were actually just saying on the pre-pod catch-up that we were having, if you were playing golf in 33, 34, 35 degree heat in a Spain, Turkey, Portugal, wherever you might be, you'd be expecting buggies. You'd be expecting lots of drinks huts, cold towels, ice all over the place. And everyone's clamouring for the 7:30 tee time. But no, not here. I had, thankfully, a couple of 10 past 10 tee times, which was okay. But yeah, when it hit the back nine, certainly the middle of the back nine, it really felt like the oven doors had just been opened up right in your face. So it was a hot one. The golf was solid enough, wasn't great. We had a couple of good runners and riders from the boys, some good performances. But yeah, just a great bank holiday fun on the patio. How about you? You're nursing a bad back, aren't you?
Yeah, so I was in Spain last week, and we're parking the Spain chop up because you're actually heading there in the not too distant future, and so we're going to have a bit of a, you played here, I played there. We've got some overlap, we've got some that aren't, so that's going to be a really good episode next up. But yeah, in Spain, and always had a bit of a back niggle for, back in my cricketing days. I remember 16, I think, the first time I did it. And it was always just like a dull pain, and it was manageable and it was fine. And it was a bit crap in the morning, but like, we moved. But I had like my first ever like full back spasm on the 14th hole at La Cala Golf Club last Sunday, and I had to stop playing, which was the first for me. I've never walked off in anger, and I've never walked off in injury until then. So not ideal at 32, not really where you want to be. But we are trying to look after it. But yeah, slightly concerning. But I cancelled all my plans over the bank holiday weekend because I was just like, no, it's going to be too hot. My back hurts too much. I need to look after it. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to do my stretches, get back on track after what was quite a heavy week, to be fair, in Spain. And then Monday came around, and I was just like, do you know what? It's feeling all right. And my mate goes to me, do you fancy a game? And I was just like, yeah, I just have to play once. And even if I only play half the holes, like, I'll go out with a trolley. It should be okay. And funnily enough, not to bore everyone to tears about back issues, it's sitting in carts, buggies, that really, really messes it up. It's that, quite violent movement sitting down. Violent movement sitting down. That is what really makes it awful. And so actually walking around with a trolley yesterday was absolutely fine. And I just wanted to ask you a question on conditioning, because I think, May in the UK certainly is like peak course conditioning, because you've kind of got the rains of April, then you start getting a bit of sun, everything's green, everything's lush, nothing's burnt out. How do you find conditions out there? Because I mean, Stowmarket Golf Club, which is not necessarily a club to report home about, but it's just a local one to me at the moment, was just in great nick yesterday.
Yeah, RMS was in good nick. The greens were really true. I wouldn't say lightning quick, but deceptive, quite spongy and
Mm-hmm.
receptive, but then were quick enough, running nicely. I would say the course is in good nick. I think part of that is to do with this new greenkeeper that we've got in, who's about 8, 9 months into the job. So he's not that new, but we keep saying new given the last one was there for 15, 20 years or whatever it was. I would say it was in good nick. Like, happy with what was provided to us, what was displayed to us. And I would say that if they kept it like that from April to September, October, we'd be a happy membership group.
100%. And we had other people out, kind of like Hankley Common and different places like that over the weekend, and all of it just looking absolutely superb at the moment. All right, well, as I was away last week, we didn't get a chance to catch up, and obviously that was post PGA Champ, second major of the year. So wanted to dive into that. I know we're a week late, but yeah, just wanted to throw the bone to you to start with. What were your initial thoughts post PGA Championship?
Aaron Rye, if anyone's backed him, well done. Good effort. That is a real left field one. A couple of years ago, might even have been last year, he was a couple of people's we do the sweepstake that we've spoken about before, where you pick um, player in worlds 1 to 10 on data golf, 11 to 25. I think it's been amended to, might be 11 to 20, 21 to 40, and then 41 plus. And Aaron Rye kept cropping up in a few people's 41 plus category on data golf. I think he had a decent run at the players last year, if I'm right in thinking. He was there or thereabouts, sort of top 10, top 15. Um, but he's had a really poor season. Um, he's not been anywhere, really. I think he's missed quite a few cuts, or he's certainly not been finishing and been shown on the screens. So for him to come through and actually the bottle he's shown, I thought it was solid bottle. He just kept driving forwards. He hit that great bunker shot on the 13th, I think it was, that short par three, short par four. Bottle to go for it. Had the bottle to take that bunker shot on rather than leaving it 10, 12, 15 feet short and safe and having a bit more of a run. And ultimately ran out comfortably in the end to what would be a very surprising winner.
Yeah, it was. the leaderboard was obviously very bunched, and that was a discussion point through the week. I think it had something like an 83% par make percentage on like the course as a whole, which was maybe 7%, I think it was, higher than your tour average. And they're basically saying that these pins are tucked, the greens are really difficult, and so everyone was just playing to the middle, taking par, moving on. And so as a result, there just weren't these huge kind of scoring swings. And so we go into the final day with a huge bunch of people who were potentially going to get the job done. And he just played unbelievable on that back nine, didn't he? And 65 final round. He looks like the kind of guy that if he is in contention, it doesn't look like it's going to overly bother him. Like I actually this morning just went back and watched like his post-winning press conference that he did for 20 odd minutes or so, and he's very even keel, like as in I can't imagine. And it was actually a point I was going to throw to you, like when talking about potential Ryder Cup player, like how do you feel about that kind of character potentially being in your squad? Is it a good thing at a home Ryder Cup to just have someone who is literally just like flatline when it comes to emotion?
I think so. I think you have to have your emotional people. I think a lot of these guys raise their games because of the emotion, but some can't. You look at both the Højgaard brothers; they've been poor. It's fair to say in the last Ryder Cups because they couldn't handle their emotions. But you look at like a JJ Spawn, who you'd argue is almost a similar type of profile in the US team. Very good driver of the ball, good putter, pretty calm, albeit he showed a little bit more emotion there than Ryder did when he won his major last year. He was an asset. He was great in the foursomes. He won his singles point because he's just going to hang around. I think rather than emotion, it will depend on the course. I think Aaron Rai is showing that he's pretty solid on tough tracks. He's going to hit fairways. He's going to put the ball in play. He can hold some putts. And again, this is from a less than expert opinion. I don't know what he would do if Adair Manor is set up to be a birdie fest. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a bomb and gouge. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of the team is as to whether Luke Donald decides, yeah, we want this to just be hit it as far as you can, go from there, or whether it's going to be more of a let's make it tight, as typically Europeans have done. Let's make it tight. Let's make it hard. Let's make it firm. We'll go from there. Because we dominated Bethpage when it was just hit it anywhere and make it a putting contest. Be very interested to see who makes that team, and I think that will be more impactful than how emotional everyone's getting.
Yeah, 100%. And you would think that once Donald has an idea of how his team's shaping up, then he will make that final decision on course setup and kind of tailor it. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he kicks on, because this certainly at this moment in time, I feel has the potential to be the who won the 2026 PGA Championship kind of vibe. And so it would be interesting if it, pours in some confidence to the game and he kicks on with some more wins, because obviously Ryder Cup is next year, September. So like there's a lot of time to go. And I don't think winning this tournament now solidifies his spot by any stretch of the imagination. Talking about crazy calls, when we put the prediction video out, a load of people waded in with their thoughts, and someone did comment with Smalley. And I literally was just like, through 3 days, I was like, that would be an all-time shout.
It would be. It would have been sensational. Glad he didn't win. Nothing against Alex Smalley, but just not who I'm rooting for. Same with Schmidt. Like, cool, well done, great week for you. Don't want you to win. I mean, obviously I wanted Rose to win. That's my guy. Had a great Saturday, but I just never, again, just he wasn't quite there for 2 days. He got himself in, had a good Saturday. He's got a backdoor, top 20, I think it might be, something like that. Never felt like he was in it. I thought Rahm was actually going to be the one who would just steamroll through, and I wouldn't have hated it. I know there'd be a lot of people who wouldn't have liked to have seen him win, but I like Rahm, and he certainly falls into the other category of very emotional.
Yes, indeed. And, and I think you can connect with that, which is great. So 2 final questions on PGA for me, from me to you. Course thoughts generally when you strip it back, and then PGA Championship and just general feelings. There's a lot of chat this week or last week about potential changes going forward. Just keen for your thoughts on those.
I thought it looked great, Aronimink. I really did. I know we're accustomed to the US Open being the tournament where they're all battling to break par and 100 level par's a good score. I enjoy those tournaments because there aren't enough of them, in my opinion. So I thought they set the course up great. I think they listened to the players too moaning too much for Saturday, made it a lot easier. I'd have rather it had just been continued to beat everyone up. It was a good watch, in my opinion. I don't like just you turn the TV on and you just watch a field of people hitting putts, which essentially is what the majority of the PGA Tour events are becoming nowadays. I like to actually see them in trouble. They're having to use their, I think about the 11th hole, especially when the pin was at the back. You could use the backstop, spin it back, and there was so like Dan Brown, our boy. He's made two there. I think on the Thursday or the Friday. But you get it wrong and you go long, and you look at Chris Gotterup, who had a good week, DeChambeau, who had a stinker. They go long. You can't even hold the green. I love that. I want to see more of that. So I thought the course was excellent. I can see why it's held big events in the past, will continue to hold big events, and sits in that Philadelphia just dream list of courses that are around there, like within however many miles it might be. But when that graphic came on the screen, so I really enjoyed that. I think the PGA Championship in and of itself doesn't have an identity at the moment. I always felt like when it was sat in August and it was always coined as Glory's last shot, that it had an identity. It was the last time in the year for someone to nab themselves a major. You could have storylines where we've not seen it, but are players going on for a Grand Slam? Are they going for their second, third majors of the year? That in itself would be a storyline that the PGA could run with. Glory's last shot for me is where it should be. Sitting in May as just another, almost feels like just another elevated event, doesn't quite give it the gravitas that I think it should have as a major. So I think it's a shame.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's kind of just lost in the kind of blur of this very packed part of the season. And even you think of like Spieth, who's going for the Grand Slam with the PGA, that just doesn't really seem to really hold any weight amongst the other stories that are going on each year, which I think is a shame. Like that, basically that was the storyline at the Masters for a decade, wasn't it? Like that's just what we had to listen to at Sky Sports, where I feel like it's just, yeah, I agree with you. I think they got to push it back. Any thought on the match play stuff that was being mentioned?
I mean, I'd love it. I mean, originally it was, wasn't it? I think there is a place on the golfing calendar for the match play, for the World Match Play Tournament. I loved that. I thought it was a fantastic viewing week, especially when it was at Austin Country Club. I thought it was great. When it was in Tucson as well, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
It was just a great event, and it had some great winners. Still remember Victor Dubuisson making up and down out of the cactuses like back-to-back holes against Jason Day. I know he ended up losing, but you remember all these moments, and I think I don't think it should be a major. I don't think that. I think firstly it needs to have an event on tour that is a match play before you can start thinking that the major is going to be a match play as well, would be my personal opinion. But I can see the arguments for it. I think we'd see a real difference in who becomes major champions. Suddenly your Sam Burns and your Poulters back in the day might have been fancying themselves as a multiple major winner. And that would have been interesting to have seen. I personally don't think that the PGA should be a match play yet, but I do think, as I said, we should have a match play tournament sometime in the calendar.
Yeah, I agree. And I quite like the hybrid approach where you play, I don't know, 2 stroke play rounds and then you take your top 16 or 32 or whatever and then go into a match play. Like if that solves the problem, then that's fine by me. Like I agree with you. Some of the great memories are from the Dell match play stuff back in the day. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think above everything, PGA needs to go back to August. It needs to be Glory's last chance, because at the moment it's lost, and it is a shame because it is a major. Arguably, he's got the best trophy. Like, if no meaning attached to it, I mean, I would say that might be right at the top of the one you'd want on your mantelpiece, just from a visual standpoint. But a great win for Aaron Wright, very out of left field, an English winner. We've got to be happy with that, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he kicks on. You mentioned that you like it set up hard and how so many weeks are just absolute scoring fests. This week just gone, the CJ Cup was just a bloodbath of birdies, wasn't it?
Am I right in thinking that this TPC Craig Ranch is where they're hosting the next PGA Championship as well? And I
I'm not sure.
passed that
I'll
out to the
Google
list. Yeah,
as
have a little look whilst I'm having, because if that is the case, it's going to go down as one of the worst tournaments moving forward. I think the golf course is bang average. It's just a bang average resort course, really.
PJ
You know, when
Frisco it goes to next.
okay,
So no, we're safe. And then it goes Olympic Club. So
good,
it's 28. It's going to be a great one.
fine, okay. Because I was worried. I thought that I'd seen that it was moving. I knew he was going to Tesco, Texas, because Rich Beaton had said that he was going to play in his home state next year.
Mm.
I think it's a crap track for all of the great golf courses that the states have. Every different state of the United States has good golf courses. To think that that is the one you choose, I know it's a sponsors thing and what have you, but two guys shot 60, like, just loses its crack if it's not easy to shoot 60, but if it's going to be done that often, well, it's not really a target, is it?
I mean, I cast my eye down the leaderboard and, the vast majority of the people in the top 20 all shot in the 60s, all 4 rounds. Like, like I said,
Not,
these tournaments that go to TPC, whatever, like, I'm not massively subscribed to them, to be honest.
no, it's not a great watch. I think they got a good leaderboard. I caught some of it yesterday. Sunday evening. It feels like it was yesterday, given we're here on a Tuesday, bank holiday. Wyndham Clark played great, really good for his season because he's been struggling. I saw that he was 133rd strokes gained putting for the season, and last week, he was first. Just shows that you put for dough. That age old saying. I thought it was a decent leaderboard. You got Scheffler's up there. Siwoo Kim was there or thereabouts. Koepka was leading at one point after the first day, but it's a nothing tournament. I think it is
I
what
agree.
it is. Whatever. Thanks for coming.
Be interesting to see. So Chris Kim, English lad, got a sponsor's invite. He's sponsored by CJ, and he played, I want to say, US Open when he was like 14, something like that. He's a Surrey lad. I think he's at Wellington College, or was at Wellington College. I'm not sure how old he is now. Looks like he's got a really good golf swing. He's probably our hottest up and comer from the UK scene. So good to see him play. Looked solid. Didn't look out of place. So I thought that was a little wrinkle to keep an eye on. But like you said, a bit of a nothing week, wasn't it?
Yeah. It really was.
Anything else from the last 2 weeks? I know you like to take us sometimes around the DP World Tour and other spots.
I'm looking forward to this week's DP World Tour, I have to say. It's in Kitzbühel. Only ever seen it with snow on the mountains. Great skiing venue. I remember Tristan Lawrence won last year. He beat Matt Fitzpatrick. Beat out Matt Fitzpatrick in the last group to... I don't know, Francis Montana. But I love it when they go into the mountains and they play the sort of the mountain golf and some of those courses that are in incredible nick, given that they are completely under snow for 6-7 months of the year as well. So that's going to be a good event to keep your eye on. Also, I think one of the things we've got to call out that's just happened: Walton Heath, 36-hole US Open qualifying. Appreciate this US Open qualifying everywhere. If I touch on some of the others, Graham McDowell back in the US Open alongside Caleb Surratt from the Texas. I think it was the Dallas US Open qualifying. So a couple of LIV names there, and great. I like McDowell. Always like McDowell. So good to see him back there. But then if I touch on Walton Heath, you've got. I went there last year. wasn't able to get down this year, but one of the groups was Tristan Lawrence, Thomas Dietrich, and another. You got like 10 people walking with them. Like, if you want to go and actually see these guys up close and personal, without the crowds and being able to really smell the fear, smell the birdies, get yourself down there next year. It's a phenomenal day. They play the old and the new and the old, depends on where they are set up. And um, great to see a friend of the pod. We've spoken with Truman before. He's coaching Nathan Kimsey. Huge shout out. Kimsey went and won the US Open qualifying, shooting 4 under on the old, and then just taking apart the new with a 10 under. So
Well,
just cruise it home, 14 under. He's going to the US Open. Bit of a shout out to Truman. Last year he wasn't on the bag. They didn't get through. This year he's on the bag, going to the US Open. Should he cash in the coaching gig and start being a caddy? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, just wanted to give a little shout out there because I think that's a phenomenal performance and well worth going to if you get a chance next year.
Yeah, no, I think there's certain little days like that if you actually just are wanting that really personal top tier golfing experience, US qualifier, Open qualifier stuff, I think is an amazing shout because they go to really, really great regional golf courses. And like you said, especially now with LIV Golf, you have some really quite significant names playing in them. Another one as a little one for people to think about is it's normally the Sunday before, maybe it's the Saturday before the Open in the UK, and I assume it would be similar for other tournaments. But certainly when it goes to St Andrews, which is obviously in the town and you can access the course very easily, it might be slightly more difficult when I think about it at other places. But if you were in St Andrews the Saturday before the Open starts on the Thursday, they have no ropes out, they have no stewards out, and so you literally can just walk the golf course with whoever's practicing. And because it's a major and it's St Andrews, lots of people do get in early. And so many years ago, like literally walked up 18 just chatting to Tom Watson and his caddy, and just the next day stewards are all out, ropes are all up, like you couldn't get anywhere near it. So there are just these days that yeah, if you really want to get close and personal, you can. Great win for Kimsey. I am going to be at Shinnecock, so I'm actually really looking forward to giving Truman a shout, and two FPG boys, I suppose we'll call us, walking the fairways of Shinnecock Golf Club, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. We're going to swing back to Shinnecock in a minute, but mentioned LIV there. We haven't really got a chance to chop up what on earth's been going on. Obviously, PIF pulled their funding at the end of this year, which came pretty out of left field, is what I'm getting from all the players and everyone that kind of gives interviews on it. Like, certainly a surprise. The chat is they're going to go find more money. I think they need 250 mil or something like that. I mean, if you look at the numbers that have been published on the amount they've lost, etc., I can't imagine it's an overly appetizing business to get involved with. But yeah, just give your initial thoughts on the news.
Yeah, the initial feeling is if they got 250 million, they might still be able to operate, but they're not going to have the purses that the elite players who have gone to LIV for and taken the risk for will stay for. So whilst they may have a tour, it will not be anything like the tour they've got now with the names that they've got, because they're not going to pay them enough. And we've seen that these guys are mercenaries who are on the LIV tour. And fair enough. You've got to go. You've got to take the money. Absolutely, you do. But they're not going to stay if the money isn't there. So yes, they might raise 250 mil. I mean, it's a lot of money for essentially a business that is losing so much money. If that was any other business, you'd be looking at who's going to buy that. It's just failing. So I think that's going to be difficult. I think that they've had to make those noises of, well, we're going to raise money, we're going to do that, because they still have these events. Korea's starting in a couple of days and they're all out there. I think if LIV is still around, it will be a very, very different tour to what we know LIV as right now. You look at John Rahm, one of its, well, if anything, it's poster boy, certainly in Europe. I appreciate some might say DeChambeau's the poster boy overall. Rahm's already made an agreement with DP World Tour. He's paying his fine. He's committed to 5 events, I think it is, for the remainder of this year. They've only given him dispensation to go and play LIV events for the rest of this year. For me, that translates to you're coming back there for next year. He won't be on LIV next year. that's a massive loss. He's been their individual winner the last 2 years. He's leading it again this year. He is the biggest money earner on that tour. It's going to be really interesting. I think it will, as I said, I think it will hang around, but I don't think it'll be anything like. And I think any of the big name players who are self-respecting are going to be searching and looking to play other tours. I don't buy into the absolute crap of, I don't want to play the PGA Tour anyway. I'm going to do other things. Absolute bollocks. I'm sorry. You've grown up as a professional golfer. You grow up as a golfer to become a professional golfer and compete against the best and be as successful as you can be. And ultimately, it's going to go back to that the PGA Tour is going to be the biggest tour in the world, no matter what people say now. With the biggest prize funds, with the biggest world ranking points, biggest fields, best players. So DeChambeau to come out and say, I don't know if I'm just going to focus on my YouTube and social media and all that, it's for me, it's bollocks. It's someone who is trying to get the best deal they can by not presenting their hand. And I get that, you know, so you should do. If he comes out and says, I'm gasping to play PGA Tour, well, the PGA Tour are going to give him the biggest fine and they're not going to concede on anything. So I can understand that. But it's going to be very interesting. And I feel more, I don't feel for, but I'm interested more to see the guys who don't have status, maybe even the up and coming guys who have taken a risk on LIV. You know, you look at the Lasasso, who's just gone there. You look at Elvis Smiley, these guys who have Laurie Cantor, who's given up his PGA Tour status. And then you start looking at your Mark Leishmans and a few of these other guys who, are they a big enough pull for the PGA Tour to welcome them back? Who knows? Maybe not. Where will they play their golf? Will they be playing Asia Tour? Going to be interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. And like you said, you kind of alluded to like almost different pockets of players, and they're all going to have their own different story. And I think there are a lot of kind of sub stories to it. You got to think that the Brooks Koepkas and the Patrick Reeds of the world are literally laughing somewhere, you know, deep into their belly about what's happening. But you'd imagine the top tiers will find a pretty accelerated path back to the PGA Tour. I think the DP World Tour will get an enormous boost for the next 12 months at least, probably 24 when you just kind of spread it out. Like the 10 promotion places, not this season, but next season, I'd imagine will be like electric. Like those 10 players will be probably the strongest crop that will ever be fed into the PGA Tour. So that would be good to see. But then you've got the likes of Poulter and Westwood, who are now in their 50s. And, you know, the Champions Tour is just such an easy, like, pro-am on the Thursday, couple of rounds, clip it round, earn decent money and kind of keep it ticking over sort of situation. Have they jeopardized that completely now? I don't know that much about the Europe. Is it the senior DP World Tour? I don't even know what it's called, but like you don't see as much from that, and so I can't imagine that's anywhere near as lucrative or as cushy as the Champions Tour over in America. So yeah, and then the younger guys, like there's and obviously great talents, great potential, but how you know, are they going to go back to like third tier US stuff and work up from there? Like there are lots of really interesting things. And I think LIV is dead. Like if it does continue, like you said, it will continue in a aggressively watered down state and will ultimately fold because, you know, it won't make any money. And I don't think it fits into the structure of the global tours. And so, like, how long will it take to shake out? Like, it'd be interesting if we're having a conversation in 5 years and we're like, okay, like, let's review, like, how did that crop of however many players they have, 60 or whatever, like, what happened to them all?
Yeah, and actually, just whilst you were speaking, the guy who came to mind as to who's burnt the most bridges, so where will he end up, is actually a guy who's not really playing golf this year. Don't know what's happening with Mickelson. You know, he left with a lot to say, and some of it actually was pretty valid. I think it's interesting to find the PGA Tour have managed to increase their purses, so he wasn't wholly wrong. Hope everything's okay in the Mickelson household, though, as we do with everyone who's competing out there. He's had to pull out of quite a few things. It's always a little bit cloak and dagger, quite under. You know, there's not really been reasons provided, so we hope everything's okay. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see where he ends up, because again, another guy who is post 50, could play Champions Tour. Will they welcome him back? Who knows? It's going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, and you mentioned about. I mean, the reality of it is for a player on the PGA Tour, the LIV thing has actually had a very positive effect, and so the game is going to be in a better place as a result of all this rubbish once it's done. I can't imagine Mickelson's going to go ply his trade 20 times a year on the DP World Tour. So yeah, that will be interesting to see where he ends up. I'm going to use Mickelson as a nice little segue into a question. So, we've touched on the PGA Championship. We've had 2 majors now. Next major up is the US Open, which comes pretty thick and fast in about 3 weeks' time. Mickelson obviously fell short in a good number of US Opens and never got that Grand Slam done. But I was just looking through like the host venues that are coming up, and obviously some very iconic golf courses. I don't believe you'd have played any of them, so you're coming at this from a very like neutral position. But I wanted to play a little play 3, cut 5 with you, if that's all right. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna list you 8 US Open venues, either upcoming or recently past. You don't know what order they're coming in, and you've got to play 3, but you got to cut 5. You
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
So I'll start you off with this year's venue, Shinnecock Hills.
I'd play. I'm going straight out the gate with a play. Hard to get on. Well, almost impossible to get on. Looks mega. Really excited for it. I'm going to straight out the gate. No safe plays. That's in. One.
Love it. Yeah, I cannot wait to get on turf at Shinnecock. Like I said, the chances of playing that golf course very, very, very slim. And so just to be able to walk around it, I'm going to absolutely detonate myself in the merch tent as well. I'm going to be just tip to toe in US Open gear, which I'm going to really enjoy. Okay, second course. We are going to go to a historic course, isn't on the current rotor going forward, but Torrey Pines.
Ooh. For the opposite reason of Shinnecock, pretty playable. You can get on there. Now I'm expecting there to be a couple of other playable ones that maybe fall higher up in my want to play list than Torrey Pine, so I'm going to give that a cut.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a valid cut. We're going to go straight to another public course, Pinehurst number 2.
It's right on the cusp. It's one that I would like. I would like. Needless to say, I'd like to play them all. Okay, let's just be really frank and honest. I am going to say cut. The reason I'm going to say cut is because I would like to play Pinehurst alongside then a bit of Harbour Town, a bit of Kiowa, and a bit of that sort of vibe and create a trip out of it with the boys than just Pinehurst. So I'm going to say cut.
Okay, cool. I think I'm aligned thus far. So we're going to go head back to private now. LACC.
Ooh, you're teasing me now. Cut, cut. Not seen enough of it. Looks great. People that have played it wouldn't even say it's the best in the area. You know, you've got your Rivieras, your Bel Airs, a couple of others. So I'm gonna go off other people's opinion, given I've not known enough. I'm gonna go cut.
Okay, so still 2 positions open. Next, we will go to the Wicker Baskets of Merion.
It's Justin Rose territory, isn't it? It's Justin Rose haven. I love the Wicker Basket. I really do love the Wicker Basket. It just doesn't shout to me. I'd love to play it. I think it'd be brilliant, but I'm gonna have to say cut.
Okay,
By the way, just before, 3 more. There's one that I'm expecting
yeah.
that is definitely an in. I'm not going to say which it is, but if you go up next, you might help me. But who knows?
Okay, 3 left, 1 cut, 2 plays to come, and we're going to go back to the northeast. We're going to go to Wingfoot.
One of our good friends, Oscar, has played it. He raved about it. He loved it.
What a logo! Merion's also great.
Great
There's some
logo.
unreal logos through these. To be fair,
There are some great logos. I'm gonna say cut, and I'm gonna sit and just take the last 2, and we're just gonna enjoy
it. All right, which order am I going to give it to you? Okay,
give me the one I want. Give me the one I want.
So Pebble Beach is
100%.
is that what you wanted?
That's what I wanted. That's
Okay, fine.
I know it's public. I know I could play it, but it just looks phenomenal. I want to play it.
Y-
I don't know what this last one's going to be.
100%. It's the St Andrews of the US Open rota. Like, have you seen the new cypress tree that they put in on 18? By the way,
Yes, I have. I
crazy.
have.
Like that's mega.
Yeah, I like it. I really like
Yeah.
it. Back to what it used to be. Great stuff. Yeah, it's right up there in probably top five courses I want to play. Like gasping to get on. I know we can play it, and I appreciate that some people might shout at that. But yeah, if someone offered me that round, I'd be so excited. It'd be amazing.
100%. Like it's got to be in the top three. It's number one as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
And then your final one, which any guesses?
US Open tracks.
Yeah, recent host.
Uh, recent host of the US Congressional. Is that held one?
I thought about adding that into the list because I know we've had some chats about congressional with someone we know, but no. So your third play is Oakmont.
Happy with that.
Yeah.
Happy with that. You know, we have some great chat about Oakmont in the with the boys. Another hard course to play. Yeah, I'm happy with that. If it had come earlier, would it have been an automatic yes?
Mm.
Maybe not. I don't know. I feel like it's in the similar camp to a Winged Foot and Merrion. I feel like they're all in that sort of same band, but would be very excited nevertheless.
Okay, so let's just put this to bed. If you had the full list in front of you, what would your three plays be? I feel like Shinnecock and Pebble are obvious, and they'd go in there 100%. What would the third have been?
I think it would be Oakmont. I think it would be. So pretty happy with how that's shaken out. I just think it's closer to the grouping of the others that, you know, as I mentioned, your Merrions
Yeah.
and your Winged Foots. But no, I'd go with Oakmont. I think it's got the iconic bunkers. I've seen a bit more of it in recent years. There's a bit more
Yeah.
history that's happened there, even with DJ winning. So yeah, I'd go with that. Happy with that.
Love it. Things all worked out perfectly. So now I'm going to segue into another question because a lot of those golf courses are World Top 100 courses. A lot of them are private. You know, you'd be very lucky if you do get the chance to play them in your lifetime. So I saw Golf Digest put this question out. I thought it was a really good one. So you get to play all of the World Top 100 golf courses once, but then never again. Would you take the deal?
So you play all of the world's top 100 courses once, but you can still play elsewhere, yeah?
Play anywhere else as many times as you like, but you just get to play the top 100 once and it's done.
Oh, I think that's a really easy answer of yes. I think there's not going to be many of us that are going to play the world's top 100 a course more than once. You know, there's not many of us that I'm certainly not a member of a course that is in the top 100, so it wouldn't impact my life from there. There's a lot of courses that I've played once. You know, the cost of golf is going up. It's an expensive hobby, might not get back to. And there's a lot of courses in that top 100 you can't get to. So being able to just access those the once would be a real privilege. So yes, easy answer. Would 100% do that, and I'd go and play some golf in the millions of phenomenal golf courses that don't manage to get in that top 100. And you know what? I'd be keeping an eye on that ranking for one or two that just dropped out, just popped out of there and bang, straight into there.
Yeah, I think it's a super easy yes. Like if you were a member of Sunningdale or somewhere like that and it was going to significantly shift how you operate week to week, then yes, I certainly would consider that. But like 100 golf courses, let's just say you played 3 a year, like that stretches you out over a vast period of your life. And I think I put it on our story and I was just like, yeah, I played top 100 and then I'd just like die happy playing somewhere like Hillside a million times,
Yeah.
which is a fantastic course just on the edge. So yeah, I agree with that. And then I just wanted to conclude some ranking stuff. So I was chatting to a friend who just played Queenwood, and we've had various conversations with other people about the private golf clubs in the UK. So, you know, we've touched on the US Open venues. It's a much bigger thing in America, but in the UK, you really don't get that many. And I think the most prominent set, there are a couple extras on the edge, but the most prominent set are Queenwood, Beaverbrook, Wisley, Wentworth, I'm going to actually throw in as well. And then Loch Lomond up in Scotland. So we've got 5 private clubs. Have you played the West at Wentworth?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So my question to you is, of the 5 private clubs in the UK, how do you rank them and why?
It's a great question. Yeah, I've been very lucky to have played all five. Um, I think it's quite an easy. Unfortunately, it's quite an easy one in five. It's Beaverbrook. It's the newest, and you can see that in the golf course. You know, if they cut their rough down, it feels a little bit like a field. It's it lost its conditioning, didn't it, last year? And they've had to do a lot of work with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it looks fantastic now, and they've done a great work. The vibe's lovely. It's a good spot. Just having played the others, I think that's the weakest golf course out of the five we're talking to. So it's a pretty easy answer for me with that one. Um, Moving into number four, I'm going to go the Wisley. 3 9s, great logo. Beaverbrook's got a good logo. It's funny that all of these really have a good logo. You would say, which I think is part and parcel of being a top private members club. You've got to have a good logo. Um, solid golf course. Really enjoy it. Like the practice facilities are phenomenal, as are Beaverbrooks, as are Wentworths, as are Loch Lomond's, as are Queenwood. So like that's not a differentiator. It's just straight down golf. Um, Clubhouse is nice. The food is sensational, actually, in the Wisley Clubhouse. 3 9s, which is good. I think it elevates it above Beaverbrook, and I actually think that even if it only had two of the nines, whichever one it was, they'd be ahead of Beaverbrook, but not quite the same level as the others on the list. And now this is where it gets a little bit tougher. I think these three are all magnificent properties. I'm going to go in number three. I'm going to go Wentworth. And the reason I'm doing that is it nearly moved up because it's got three courses. And I think that is absolutely something you have to consider if you were looking at this being your club, because you could have some nice variation. You know, the East course and the Edinburgh courses are meant to be pretty solid. Having not played them, if I thought they were really good, maybe that would have pushed it a little bit higher. Losing the course for probably 2-3 weeks a year when they're doing the BMW PGA would be a bit of a pain. So probably actually brings it down a smidge. And if you were looking for a private members course club where you could play where you want to be, I'm sure people flood in and say, no, we get access to all these other courses those weeks. So great, cool. But iconic clubhouse, I just think it misses the added level of prestige that the other two have. And just it feels different when you walk into Queenwood and Loch Lomond than it does into Wentworth. So that's the reason I'm going for that. Number two, I'm going Queenwood. Was fantastic, loved it, thought it was brilliant. It had absolutely pissed it down a couple of days before, and so it was still pristine nick, but they'd had to drop sand all over everywhere basically. So it wasn't like one of you know, as I'm sat here now looking outside at 34-degree days weather in May, it wasn't a day like that. Very quiet, very felt like it was your own private club, which I know is exactly the vibe it's going for. So if you like that, you achieve that at Queenwood. Great locker room, great facilities all round. But what I think it missed was what Loch Lomond has, which was the added bit of crack that comes with it feeling private. And I think Loch Lomond is one of those special places in golf that if you ever get a chance to go to, you have to take it. We were lucky enough to be staying on site. So we stayed on the Loch Lomond property. Again, I don't think Queen would have that facility. I could be completely wrong. So again, don't bite my head off if it's suddenly that's the case. Staying on property, you get a tumbler of Loch Lomond whiskey as part of your review. When you stay, you arrive and you get a little nip of whiskey. You get sort of you ferry through. Willie in the locker room is just part of the furniture. He's a great bloke. He knows Loch Lomond inside out. He remembers your drinks order 2 days later, even after he's seen multiple people. The locker room has this private, like, sophisticated feel, but also has then like Sky Sports is on and it's relaxed and it's sort of laid back and have some beers, enjoy your tenants. You're in Scotland, aren't you? Enjoy whatever you're having. Watch the football. Just relax. Great restaurant on site, and the golf course. again, being able to compare it to Queenwood, because no shock here, it had rained quite significantly the day before up in Scotland, and it actually rained a little bit on and off the course. We were lucky enough to play it twice. It's just magic. It really is just magic. You've got the lock, obviously, hence what it's named from. But then you've got right in amongst the pines, the trees are up there. It's a beautiful scenery. I think you're hard pressed to find anywhere as magical as that, and I don't think there is anywhere as magical as that on in the UK. I think you're going to find a couple over in the States and in other areas, and you've got your Tara Eaties as well if you start going down to New Zealand. But yeah, I could continue to wax lyrical about Loch Lomond for a long time, and so it has to be number one. But I think it's a great question.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's very, very interesting. I would have guessed Queen would have come out on top. So yeah, that really does speak, I think, to Loch Lomond's facility and overall experience. Thought just an interesting fact for those listening. So Beaverbrook doesn't have any professionals that practice out of there. Unlike Queenwood, where they have numerous, and Wisley and Wentworth for that matter. And the main reason apparently is the range is on has quite a severe slope, and so the pros don't want to practice because it messes their TrackMan data up.
Wow. And the first goes down if you miss the first right, it's out of bounds on the ranges, and it all sort of swoops around the bottom. So it makes sense, but interesting. They need to address that because I'm sure they want some pros.
Yeah. I think they kind of sit on the fence a little bit. I mean, ultimately that range is not going to change, so I think that just might be the case. But and then as you mentioned, unbelievable logos, and I just thought this would be funny to mention. So I had a meeting last week with Golf Island, and I sat down with them and I went, look, hear me out, lads, because they were like, we need to get people going to like not the massive courses in Ireland. Like that's one of their goals. It's like there's more courses than just Ballybunny and Lahinch, blah 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 blah. And so we're having a conversation about that. And I was just like, well, a good starting point would be going to somewhere like Enniscrone and going, your logo is rubbish. Please change it.
Yeah, fact.
So you'll be happy to hear that message has been very forcefully passed on to Golf Island for you.
Nice, good.
Oh dear, very funny. Okay, cool. All right, let's segue into some destination stuff. So as you said in the intro at the beginning of the pod, we've just had an absolute all-time long bank holiday weekend here in the UK. So it got us thinking, what is a great 3-day golf trip to do in the UK? And they're normally the ones where you go and tick off a couple of hidden gems and go somewhere maybe that you wouldn't necessarily first think of. And so we've agreed. Josh has got one. I've got one. One that we've both done, but we've both experienced. And so we're just gonna lay them out, and we're gonna bounce them off each other and see what we come up with. So I'll throw it to you first. You got 3 days somewhere in the UK, long weekend. Call it bank holiday or not. What's the plan?
So I've treated this slightly differently. I know you said you're hidden gems and things like that, but I've gone for somewhere that bank holiday suggests you're in the summer, so you've got a chance at good weather, which means I'm going somewhere where if you get good weather, it's magical. So and having recently been up there myself, I'm going to fly up to Inverness. I'm going to get myself to Inverness, very reachable from many different areas in the UK. Fly in there, and within 15 minutes, you have access to Nairn, you have access to Cabot Highlands, formerly known as Castle Stewart, and now you've got Old Petty as well, the third course there. So, as an ease of trip, 15 minutes, you can stay yourself in Nairn if you want, nice and easy. Or hop in the car, pop up an hour, go and play Royal Dornoch. Easy. I would say perfect weekend, and I'm squeezing it in, and I'm going sort of the high end of what you want to do on a bank holiday weekend. I appreciate it's not the cheapest of trips, but it's what I would like to do. I'm going to land. I'm going to drive. I'm going to go straight up to Royal Dornoch, and I'm going to have my day on the championship course there, 13th in the world, I believe it is. I played it mega, got a good October day, but would love to get a good bank holiday day. And come back down, Nairn, chill out, enjoy it. What I would then do on the Saturday, oh, well, I guess you're going Saturday, Sunday, Monday, aren't you? So call that Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to go to Cabot Highlands. I'm going to do a 36 hole day. I'm going to play Castle Stewart course and I'm going to play the Old Petty course. They are 10, 15 minutes away from the Nairn town. Easy to get to. Long day on the course, but really easy to get home, back to your accommodation, have some food, and enjoy that. And then on the last day, I'm going to play Nairn. Having recently played it, I think it's like a mini North Berwick. It's sensational. We got a great day's weather. Absolutely magnificent. And again, you can go and get changed at Nairn. You can have a nice time, and you could stay over again if you wanted to, or if you're then, as we said, bank holiday shooting off, your 10, 15-minute drive to the airport. All really convenient, all really easy. And equally, the ability to sub out any of those courses and play Golspie, Brora, Granton-on-Spey, all these other courses that are genuine hidden gems that are fantastic, can bring the price point wherever you need it to be and still keeps you within like a 30, 40-minute drive. So that, for me, just feels like a really great gem of a trip.
Agreed. I think, Inverness is a much shorter season than even East Lothian or something like that. And so if you are in the weather window, especially if you're traveling from the UK, like there are lots of flights up to Inverness. And if you get those courses on a good day, I'd imagine they're absolutely magic. So you mentioned you were at Nairn recently. We've spoken about it on the pod before. Great logo. What kind of pro shop damage were we talking about?
Yeah, I was trying to be as good as I could.
Why?
I wasn't. Well, because I just trying to be good, but I wasn't good. I wasn't good. um, I feel like no one can have too many white caps with good logos on them. Still looking for the best way to wash them. I don't know how people go about it. I'd like to actually send that to the listeners. Please comment in. How do you wash your white caps? Because we've had washing machine, we've had get in the bath with it, we've had hand wash them. There's just multiple different dishwasher. So would love to know the best way. As a result, my white caps don't last too long. So I got a nice new Nairn white cap, the nice logo on it. And then I actually ended up going a little bit left field. I got a brand that I've never heard of, like Turtle Nest or whatever it was. Turtleson, I think it was. Obviously, we were making jokes about turtle heads poking out and all these different silly things that we had, having had a couple of drinks. But Turtleson, and I got a nice hoodie that could be worn on course or off course with the Nairn logo, which is just one of the great logos. Reminds me very much of the Sheep Ranch logo, actually, at Bandon.
It does indeed. And, I just want to congratulate you for being such a big, brave boy and going for a brand that we're not 100% sure where it's come from, what it is. Like, what do people feel about this brand? You had no idea and you still pulled the trigger. So very well done to you.
Thanks, appreciate it. Means a lot.
So Inverness is a good one. And to be honest, I'm going to struggle to beat that. But maybe a slightly more affordable and potentially one of the best value long weekends that you can do in the UK is one that we've also done together. And that's jumping in the car and heading down to the southwest. And I'm going to do Devon. Now, you can obviously go further and you've got St Enodoc and other really, really good golf courses further down into Cornwall. But a couple of years ago, we went down to Devon. And I think as a 36-hole setup, Saunton is criminally underrated. Like,
Magic.
I think it's the East is supposed to be better than the West from a ranking perspective. Like it's definitely a level up, but certainly when you play both courses over 2 days, or maybe even do a marathon 36 there, they just blur into what feels similar to like Berkshire Red and Blue, where it's just like, who knows what course we're on at this point, but like I'm just really enjoying myself. I've only ever played it in super fast, hot, baked out conditions. And just what a great little golf club. Like we've got some friends that live down there who are members of Saunton, and yeah, great setup. great town, great British pubs. Like it's got a real like UK holiday vibe to it. You know, people really enjoy living their life and surfing and golfing and being outdoors, and you kind of really feel that people are really friendly. And so I think Saunton is a must. It's, like I said, very reasonably priced as well. And so a great setup there. Then to then just cap off, so we did that Friday, and then we did it Saturday or Saturday, Sunday, whichever way you want to do it if you're bank holidaying it. And then on the way out, we played Royal North Devon, which I feel like we're both going to have something to say about. Royal North Devon is a very well ranked golf course on virtually all the lists. It is seen as having a place in the world of golf. And I'll be honest, I don't really understand why. It's fine. And you play it on the way out. And look, like I said, it's again very good value, or it's a very good price, maybe I should put it that way. And it's a good one to just like play a third course on the way out back into wherever you're going. But like, it's a bit of a field, isn't it?
I think bit of is an understatement. It is just a field. It is actually a field. It has horses in it and cows in it and sheep in it. I just pulled it up while you were talking there. 55th ranked course in England. Now, if there are only 54 courses better than that in this country, we should give up. Like, you know what? Golf just isn't going to work in this country. To say that is the 55th best course in England is actually farcical. It's probably not the 55th best course in Devon. And I don't know how many courses there are in Devon. That's how I feel about that course. I think and the best holes are like the 4th and 5th down by the beach, and they're eroding away.
But they are good holes.
They're eroding away.
Yeah.
They're eroding away, so they're not going to be there again in 5 years. I think it's a good logo, on the Royal North Devon for sure. But as a golf course, I think it's appalling. And you know what? I wouldn't think it was so appalling if it wasn't ranked as inappropriately as it is. If someone had just said, this is an unranked course in Devon, come and play that. It's well worth playing alongside Saunton. Your expectation levels are reduced, and you go, all right, cool. Oh, this is okay. You'd still not think it's brilliant, but you'd be like, okay, it's okay. But when someone says, yeah, this is 55th best in England, you've got to go and play it to tick off your top 100 in England, whatever it might be, your expectation levels, rightly so, increase, and you are significantly disappointed by that place. And I would say that don't play there. Go and play Burnham and Barrow. It's a bit further away, but it's still on the way back. If say you were driving back towards the bulk of the country, it doesn't have to be London, but the bulk of the country, you're not going back towards Cornwall. Don't play Burnham and Barrow. It's about an hour and a half away, hour and 45 minutes away. Breaks up some of that really long drive, and is the two courses there that are very good. But the main course, of course, if you're only playing one, is a sensational track. But it's not my pick. So I'm coming in and I'm coming over the top. But I hope you don't mind me just offering a potential alternative.
Yeah, no, I was literally going to mention exactly that. And if you're really looking to just play great golf, then 100% there's different options. I think Royal North Devon logistically works, and I said if you're working to a budget and you're looking to do something cheap and cheerful by, I'd say, our golfing recommendation standards, if that makes sense, then Royal North Devon you can chuck in there. But yeah, I think there are certainly better options out there. And I mean, yeah, we've actually never paid to play on Royal North Devon, so I can only imagine if we've actually been asked to part with our money as well. But yeah, a couple of good holes, and maybe if you are a list ticker, I'd get out there sooner rather than later, because as Josh says, they are disappearing at speed. But a beautiful part of the country. Weather tends to be good through the summer, and yeah, it kind of ticks the bank holiday vibe box, if you will. So there you have it.
Love it. And you know what? Sat here melting post bank holiday vibes. I think it's time to go and sit in my freezer and try and cool down.
Yeah, Josh actually just got a chest freezer in his flat in London that he just parks himself in.
Just keep it clean, keep it open.
Absolutely. How's the burn from the weekend? Have you got a nice tight skin today?
No, feeling good to be fair.
Yeah.
Sunday felt the burn. Operation leather bag in full force, and I'm enjoying it. Really
Love it.
am. No, today just feeling pretty good. The light isn't helping me here. It makes me look red, and I think that every time I look back on any of the videos that get posted. But no, I'm going a rich shade of mahogany, as we've heard in other areas of play. I think it was Ron Burgundy, wasn't it? Nankerman. Feeling good. Yeah, feeling good. And we're going
Nice.
to top that tan up, as you say, going to Spain in a couple of days.
Yeah, which I'm sure can be absolutely lovely. And I am very much looking forward to chopping that up next week. But appreciate you stopping in, my man. Good chop up. And I said, have a great time in Spain. And yeah, I'll look forward to chatting to you next week.
Sounds great. Catch you soon.
All right. Cheers, boy. Right, we are Full Program Golf, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. If you're not already subscribing, please do. And we will see you in the next one.